councillors and the residents to schemes that are going to address their local issues, but they're also at the same time they're going to be in line with the healthy, safer streets principles. They're basically schemes that are going to be reclaiming green spaces and you know um, you know installing benches and planters and things of that nature, but also as part of that, we're able to, look at addressing local issues that are very much key to residents in and around densely populated areas of Birmingham, which is mostly, to address speeding and things of that nature, safety concerns. So we can actually look to install traffic calming schemes as well, vertical measures and horizontal measures. And by that I mean speed cushions, road humps, chicanes, things of that nature. Um, so yeah, essentially, I'm here to sort of just go through, the schemes that I've done with some of my own wards, and this is my first year now with the Newtown ward and working with Councillor Zial Islam. I've still got to get familiar with this ward again because it's been a number of years since I last covered Aston, and back then it was this area footpelled in part of Aston, I believe. But now obviously it's a Newtown's award in its own right, and I have to get familiar with all the sort of local issues in and around the ward and work quite closely with the councillor to see what we can do to address those local issues. Um, so, yeah, I'm going to take the opportunity to sort of hand it back to the councillor and yourselves as well to discuss uh, your key issues in and around the ward, and to see if there's any potential of us actually doing anything as part of this new ETNF uh, fund to try and accommodate some of the residents and their requests.
Thank you. I have the two Newton chairs already present here. They are doing marvelous job for this one. And normally the last one, we had a meeting numbers of years ago. They decided with the resident as well, along with me. So I think we should do some kind of program. We should think about it, how to spend this money before 31st of March. Am I right?
Yeah, I mean we've got £40,000, as I said, over the 2 years, and £20,000 for this year. I would like to try and, as I said to you earlier, I'd like to try and combine um, all your priorities and submit them in one report and get them committed in terms
Yeah.
of the funding.
Yeah.
That way we can sort of work through this year. And I mean, we're already almost, we've got, I think 4 months left or something like that.
Yeah.
4 and a bit months to the end of the financial year. So it's not a lot really. So the program was approved quite late on. So that's why we're behind in that sense.
Yeah.
It should have been approved, by the end of March this year, but we are where we are. So we've got a lot of ground to cover, and I want to try and streamline our proposals and get them, committed, as I said, and approved all in one report. So we've got one report that spans this financial year and the next financial year, and the works will, be staggered throughout this year, the remainder of this year, and the rest of the next financial year. That's what I'd like to try and do.
Yeah.
Yeah, would parking come under your?
In what sense?
Well, that obviously there's just not enough parking space. So outside of the road, you've got pavement parking quite a lot.
Yeah. Now, I think there's lots of issues when you say parking. There's lots of issues off of that. I mean, yeah, they're generally, it's all residents want a lot of, a parking space outside their property, and sometimes, obviously, when they don't have space, parking occurs at junctions and even on the footways. So what we try and do to remedy those situations is we can look to install parking restrictions, but that's not necessarily always the solution, because whenever we install parking restrictions, there's a displacement of parking. So if we install double yellow lines around the junction, all we're going to see is those cars disappear elsewhere, cause a problem elsewhere. And the solution to that really is, in terms of the council, a longer term strategies which is to try and improve our public transportation system. And that's obviously not a quick thing. As you can appreciate, it's going to take many years and lots of investment to do. But we are working towards that as a council, and lots of other local authorities have the same problem. We need to, improve our public transportation infrastructure before we can see the reliance on vehicles reduce.
Yeah.
Is your job role Birmingham wide? And also, what are you looking for? Because basically with these fundings, it's not straight, number one, it's not straightforward. And I have a funny feeling it's missing, that if it's not going to parking in the area, where is it going to? What are you looking for?
Yeah. To answer your first question, first part of your question, I cover 17 wards in Tulsa, and it's basically the city split across the centre pretty much, and I cover the lower belt of the northern half. If you can picture that, so Handsworth, Holyhead, Handsworth Wood, Aston, Newtown, Nechells, all the way across to the east. So all that belt, pretty much all across the city. In terms of parking issues.
No, sorry, let me change that. What are you looking for with this funding? I mean, if it's not for parking, what are you really looking for then?
It can be various things, really. I mean, look, it's working, as I said, closely with the councillors to see what their constituents, issues are. I mean, I'll give you an example. Some of my other wards, I had a meeting with the councillor to discuss her concerns, and she highlighted congestion along one of the roads, and we considered implementing a one-way system, so a one-way traffic regulation order. But as part of that, there's other things that we would need to do to make that work, and that was part of that is whenever we put one-way systems in, we tend to see it solves one problem in terms of congestion, but it creates another. And that other issue that's created is speeding, because there's no opposing traffic coming in your direction. There's a tendency to see that increase in speed. So knowing that sort of that area, her ward, she also requested vertical traffic calming measures, road humps. So it's things like that we could do to sort of improve the area and address some of the local concerns for the residents in and around the area, because that complaint was from residents in and around the football ground as well. So they wanted to tackle match day parking as well in and around their road, which is that road is a terraced property road with terrace houses, and there's very limited parking spaces outside their properties.
Can I just basically one more question? This will be the last question.
Yeah.
Since you're in Aston, is there any way of this project being extended to Aston? Because basically we have the Aston Villa ground, and traffic there is pretty bad.
Yeah.
Or unless I should look at regeneration in a way.
When you say traffic is really bad, I mean, there's more and more vehicles every year coming onto the roads, and less of the cars being, taken off the road. So it's, as I said, it's going back to that, solving that problem of improving our public transportation system, getting that up to speed, like some other countries have already in place. And honestly, other European countries are so much further ahead of us. You really appreciate when you go there and you see their transportation systems work. It's just so easy to get around, and it's affordable at the same time as well. And I think these are the sorts of things that Birmingham and the whole of our country really need to look at in terms of the local authorities to try and improve. But we've got a long way to go, and it's a lot of investment. I'm not going to talk about HS2 because there's a lot of frustration in and around that, and that's separate to Birmingham City Council. That's central government and the rest of it. But we've got the Midland Metro Alliance. We've got the metro running throughout the city centre and stretching across. We've got the bus sprint service, and we've got the Travel for West Midlands are doing the bus route across Washwood East. Just come on board to the ward. So, but it's a very valid question. I think at some point it will. As to when, I don't know, but obviously it's something that would need to be taken into consideration in order for us to bring up our transportation system up to speed. Yeah, we need to connect areas. Yeah.
On the Birmingham City Council on areas where we understand the priorities. So we've got areas where we're looking at outside yellow parks, stuff like then we want to reduce the children past that.
Yeah.
And then we can send you the rest of the list, but that's already been made with you.
I know a lot of the arterials in and around Birmingham are being reviewed as part of a wider strategy, and a lot of those 40-mile-an-hour roads are being reduced down to 30. But as far as I'm aware, that's still being investigated. And yeah, it's something that Birmingham City Council have moved away from, and we don't really do anymore because of the cost implications involved, and also the enforcement side of it. Birmingham City Council have very limited powers in terms of enforcement, and we rely a lot on the police to carry out movement of, well, they carry out movement offences. We don't at Birmingham City Council in terms of our own civil enforcement officers. So we can only carry out enforcement on parking restrictions, you know, wherever they are present. So that's where we can take action. That's a central team that deal with that. There's a separate part of Birmingham City Council that look after that. Yeah, it's not highways as such as in our team.
Sorry.
No, this is not nothing simple, but I think this is a lot of the issue are about enforcement. And there's no enforcement, so people just get away with it, and all kind of there's going to be rather than the carrots. The carrot is years down the line, we kind of be a bit more forceful. I know you just said things need to be enforced.
Yeah, no, I agree, and it's something that has always been a battle for the other areas. I mean, look, this isn't unique to Newtown. It's the other wards that I've looked after, over the years, Bordesley Green, where you've got a densely populated area, and you've got a bustling Coventry Road, so many parking issues in and around those local areas, shopping areas. It's difficult for our parking enforcement team to stay on top of. People will manipulate, to take advantage of the sort of local areas. They'll park there, run to the shops, grab what they need to, and within 5 minutes, 10 minutes, they'll have done their shopping or whatever it is that they'd intended to do, and they'll be off again. But that small amount of time that they've parked on the double yellow lines or parking restriction, it causes a problem not just for other pedestrians but other motorists making turning movements. And I've done a scheme recently on Whitmore Road. I don't know how well anybody knows Coventry Road, but we ended up putting a one-way system in, and then we ended up having a left turn and a right turn coming out of Whitmore Road onto Coventry Road, and then they started abusing that, and people were going through a no entry and parking up on the side of the junction. So for the following year, I had to address that issue from the following year's funding, and I had to close that section out entirely. So by putting an island in and put some bollards in, and it looks okay, it works, and it stopped them parking there now, and it's addressed the problem. There are certain things that we can do, physical measures to address parking issues, but I think it all centers back to my first sort of message, where we need to try and go, improve our transportation, infrastructure and reduce the reliance on vehicles. When we can do that, there's going to be less cars on the road, and it partly resolve the problem. But that's years ahead, I think. Personally. Yeah. Quick fixes, yeah. I understand.
I mean, I don't know, I on parking, there's a business where vehicles all over the road, they basically stop people from parking, residents as well.
Which location is that? Sorry.
It's on Howard Street. But
Sorry.
with parking, rated parking, they go along, put tickets in cars, they just screw them up, throw them on the floor.
Yeah.
So that's the point about enforcement. It's the fact, and I see it all over the place, that actually people just think, well, we're not going to get, who's going to chase me for this? And I think that's kind of the point where
Yeah.
there's a lot of, and I know it's a policing issue maybe as well, there's a lot of good people who think, well, I'm not being looked after here.
Yeah.
And actually, people who take advantage of it are going to be laughing about it.
I'm just bringing up Howard Street on here so I can get it's off the Constitution Hill. Yeah. I can get in touch with our enforcement team and try and pursue it with them and ask them to investigate it and ask that they get in touch with the business that are essentially the root of the problem, because the parking is associated with their business. You allege, is that correct?
Yeah, they're renting the property, and that's half the issue sometimes. Renting properties that either aren't licensed or,
Right.
and that's another issue.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, excuse me for a second.
Oh, are you right?
Yeah.
So,
Businessman. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, carry on.
the issue in regards to parking in that area. I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
There is, anybody who's working at the Chicken Hospital, in the businesses in the ABC center,
Yeah.
most of them park there and then walk over.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So besides the other businesses that are in that area that already have businesses in there, which are, you're supposed to provide parking, for them. So how do, besides even the parking as well, the issue here is even the cleanliness of the area as well. Is really bad.
Right.
I don't even know how to. There's that on Howard Street, and there's also on Lower Park Street as well, which is still in the same area.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, in terms of the the street cleansing issue, I mean that's something that I'll make a note of, and I'll get in touch with.
Oh, this is with the
Yeah, I know that's
excuse me.
I'm just
Yeah,
saying,
I know.
Which in regards to parking, and then now on top of that, even the cleanliness.
Of the area is really so that actually attracts a certain type of people in the area,
Yeah.
which is not safer for the businesses in the area.
Yeah. I mean, there is. I mean, looking at this image is quite recent. It's from June 2024 on Google Maps. There is a parking restrictions throughout. There's a pay and display bay on the one side.
Yeah.
And limited waiting restriction throughout its length on both sides. So the parking, as I said, if they are abusing that and they're parking over the restrictions, then obviously I'll get in touch with our parking enforcement team and get them to patrol the area. The problem with our parking enforcement team though is they've been reduced as well, and we've actually we've got a company that does the enforcement for us, NSL, and they send out their enforcement officers on an ad hoc basis to locations we highlight to them as being an issue. So if they've got a program, which they all do, to follow, they're all centered around the city center area. So when they have a available slot where they're quiet, they'll go out and visit another location, and they'll do it that way, and that's how they manage it. And a lot of the times, if they're very busy, they won't get to do that sort of area, and that's where I think we need to address this. And I'm having conversations with our parking enforcement team manager to see if there is any kind of scope for increasing their presence.
There's also that issue on so that you consume and there's that after man of school, and the walking back from school, and they can't get on, keep rushing past the cars because they're in the car.
Right.
Ask you, man, you know, you're saying about the fund, what can the fund actually be used for?
Well, I was just explaining earlier. It's the scheme, the Healthy Safer Streets program, which was what was originally identified as the fund. That was centered around improving and encouraging more sustainable transport, like cycle lanes and improving pedestrian walkways and putting street benches in, increasing the green landscaped areas, things of that nature, to sort of give a priority almost to the, pedestrians and cyclists. But the issue that we had was that fund wasn't going to address, it wasn't going to address um, the local issues of the councillors and their residents, where they've got issues with speeding and things of that nature. So it was something that the cabinet member took ownership of and rebranded, if you like, that program, and it rebranded it as the Environment, Transport and Neighbourhood Fund to address some of those concerns. Because before that, the Healthy Safer Streets wasn't something that we could use to address traffic calming measures, so things like that. So there's lots of things that we can do, like bollards around junctions, to protect pedestrian areas, guard railing to encourage pedestrians to walk along the footway to a crossing point. There's quite a few things that we can do. It's just really trying to focus on what it is that the local issues are and to see how we can try and address them using this fund.
Well, that's what we're saying.
Yeah.
We're saying what the problems are.
So-
Between now and the end
Yeah.
of the financial year.
Yeah.
How are you going to make good use of that money to address the issues on our?
So what you're doing now
And
is you're
also,
highlighting
just-
it. Sorry.
I wanted to raise the issue of double parking because it seems very popular. People just to double park. It's like, yeah, you're talking about enforcement. We'll use the money to enforce these things because it's making people's lives a misery.
Yeah, no. And
Hello?
that's different. That's a different fund. This is a different fund. Sorry, that's a separate matter. This fund has been allocated by central government through capital program to improve the areas, like the Ward Minor Transport Measures program was a number of years ago, and that continued for probably a decade or something like that. This is specifically to improve the areas and encourage pedestrians and cyclists, and improve those sorts of things, improve the areas, as I said, for people.
The gentleman over here raised the point is why pedestrians really want to walk down the street where
Exactly, that's exactly
it.
Yeah.
It's just a state. And the thing is, it's like actually, going back to enforcement, we all know the financial strains that we face with the council, but the fact is there's an income stream. There's an income stream with enforcing these things. So if you get I've seen these parking wardens, I didn't realise they were a third party that you're employing. They walk along, they don't actually give any tickets half the time. And okay, admittedly then there's the next stage where people are picking up the tickets and throwing them. But effectively that's 50 quid there that actually could go back into the council's coffers, but it's not, because there's no enforcement. This third party company are not giving the tickets. It needs a bit of kind of
Yeah.
I don't know, people are going to grasp the nettle here and go, look, we are in this situation. We know how hard it is for everybody. And we're not denying that, but we need to just say, look, let's move forward. Let's try and improve. And I don't think anyone's been, nobody's being annoyed about it, or we understand the situation. But
Yeah.
and I think kind of looking at other things like improving cycling lanes and all of that. I think people here really live here, the residents, business owners just want to go, let's get the key things right before we actually start looking at those things.
So,
Yeah.
sorry, just to stop there, because we got other agenda too. There are lots of long agenda. Thank you for your coming anyways here.
No,
I
I
think-
think just sorry, Cass. I'd just like to answer your points
Yeah.
and that lady's points. I mean, talk about double parking. That is a common issue throughout most of my wards that I look after. And as I said, that this fund is separate to dealing with that issue. That they're enforcement matters. They are, and the police have the powers to tackle those things. I mean, it would have been good if the police were here because they could assist in answering that question. Because with the Highways Act, they have the powers to take action where there's obstructive parking, and double parking is exactly that. It's obstructive parking. Our enforcement officers don't have the powers to issue tickets for double parking. No, as I said, they only can carry out enforcement where there is a traffic regulation order present. That's all they can do. Yeah, but I understand your frustrations as well. In terms of enforcement not being carried out. I will relay this to my colleague, who's the park enforcement manager, and I will be having a discussion with him and
Okay.
about these issues. And I'll feed back to the councillor for a response.
Or alternatively, if you can leave his email address and you can forward to me
Yeah.
and then copy to him as well because they are from the resident group as well.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
which is the business group
Yeah.
is here. And thank you for your
If you
comment.
if you want to after
Yeah.
the meeting, share your contact details, and then we'll respond back to we'll get the
Yeah.
park enforcement team manager to respond back to you directly.
Thank you.
All
So one more thing, because our two chairs of they're actually very active. So I think they will be discussing about it as you explained, and probably we can reach an agreement. Am I right? And then, sorry about yeah, we'll reach an agreement what we need to do about we are up to 31st. You got something anyways, yeah.
Sorry, just to condense a lot of what you said. We've had a lot of people, and we've had all the people coming in, things that we've asked for in the past. And we are fighting for the Ballard. We got the double yellow lines down by Nishkam, but we were asking for pedestrian crossing. We were told that I know you're saying perhaps it's a separate fund, but these are you what you're
No,
saying?
pedestrian crossings is again something that we can facilitate
Yeah,
because it's
you can or you can't.
no, we can because it's
Right.
to do with pedestrian
Right,
access,
so
encouraging
that's
pedestrians.
one of
to
the things we were talking about up at the junction of by where Wheeler Street and sorry,
It's
the
all right.
Burberry Street crosses over. We were asking for another pedestrian crossing up there for the children, from the schools because of Holt and at the side between where the number 8 goes down by the side of Mayfield School. But there was a lot of accidents and the double parking during the early hours of the morning when the children were going to school. There was a few incidents. And last time we did ask for funding around that, there was none. But now if you're saying this is available, we
it's a
could-
possibility, yeah.
possibility, or this is one of the things that now we're understanding what you're saying we can get out of this fund. So then from that, if we could be signposted, as you're saying, for the enforcement officers from the other team, if we know who they are, because a lot of people come along, no disrespect to you, we understand you've just come back on board. And the thing is, a lot of people come say this, say that. We all sit here sometimes flabbergasted, we hear things, and then by the time we've gone away, somebody else comes along, it's changed. So we're not going any further forward, and we keep coming back because now this conversation we're having with you is like deja vu 2.5, 3 years ago
Right.
with all this. So
I mean, like I said, I can't.
no. Sorry, I'm just
Yeah.
saying.
No,
what I was just-
no offense taken.
Yeah, just to
but what I will say
encapsulate
is,
over what you're saying. So with
Yeah.
the 20,000 that you've got that we've got to use for this year, and the 20,000 for 25 to 26, hopefully what you said, the 40,000 for the 2 years, yeah, because we've only got 4.5 months of this year. If we can start getting some of that implemented, moving forward to the pedestrianising and
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
leafleting, at least we can say, well, this is the way forward, and we're all on the same page. Not shooting you, but
No,
this
no,
is how
no.
we feel about what's said so
No,
far.
no, that's
Does
fine.
that make
I've
sense,
been shot
Yeah, of
before.
course.
Okay, sorry.
Not literally, but yeah, that's fine. I mean, we can do things like that. And I've made a note of that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, Councillor.
Yeah, thank you very
and
much.
you know, I do have to agree with, because obviously the council has his inputs, and we've got lots of requests, not just people from this meeting.
No, we understand. We're not just talking
Yeah,
about
yeah,
us, but I
yeah.
mean, as you said, you've done the other boards, the green and other areas,
Yeah,
and some
yeah.
of the schemes that
Yeah.
they've had there. And if then, with your acknowledgement, with your advanced experience, if you can say, well, these are some of the things, even just signposting the areas where people are parking, just sign no cars are parked, unauthorized parking. If you're not a resident or
Yeah.
shop owners, you will be ticketed.
It's-
I know what
yeah,
you're saying, but these are the sort of things
I
that
understand.
we
I
are
understand.
looking forward
I
to.
do get asked that question quite a lot, and the issue the issue is that we can only install signs that are in accordance with the regulations.
No,
Anything
I'm
outside of
I'm
that,
not
we
on
can't
about you
install.
just putting
Yeah,
up
yeah, yeah.
willy-nilly signs,
But yeah, what I'm saying is,
some deterrence
yeah, yeah.
for the
But
area.
those sorts of signs, a lot of people ask for, are not in our regulations, so we can't install those signs. The signs are specific for that traffic regulation order, so you'll have the time, the type of restriction it is, and you know,
Alright, can I just ask you one last question? Sorry. You know, like you said, we have a meeting, or we know where we can find these other bodies that we can
Get in
address.
touch with,
We
yeah.
can then have another meeting, and we can get the right people down to address the things that you can't, that you're not able to do. But we can know where to go.
Yeah, yeah. No, that I can feed into the back to the councillor,
Yeah.
and you know, we can try and arrange another meeting and ask for them to attend.
That's fine.
Whether they do or not have capacity is another question. But
Yeah, but at
you
least
know,
yeah, that's fine.
it's a lot of these issues. And I get this for a lot of the ward forums that I attend. They're all about parking mostly, and the parking enforcement team don't really have that much of a presence in their areas, you know, because of the resources issue. And I think it would be good if we could get Craig Evans to attend the meeting, because you know, my role as a local principal local engineer is to implement small highway, minor highway improvement measures and local safety scheme measures, things of that nature. That's my remit. When it comes to addressing parking enforcement, that's a separate issue. People tend to mix the two issues up together, but they're not. They're separate issues. And whilst I have dialogue with my colleagues, it's something that I don't deal with, unfortunately. But I will flag this with my colleague, and as I said, we'll try and get him to come at the next ward forum meeting.
I'm just amazed that, you know, Birmingham City Council said they've never got any money, then all of a sudden they get this pot of money, they find this pot of money, but they're still threatening us to say they're going to have 2 weekly collection of bins and things like that. That's what annoys me. You know, all of Newtown is full of fly tipping, and, you know, it's going to get worse when they go to this 2
I'm a resident of Birmingham too. I feel your frustrations. I don't know what to say. You know,
but it's just amazing that they've always got this money that comes out of nowhere, and
these
they're broke and things like that.
This money has been agreed for a number of years ago. They did lots of reports go in, and you know, they kind of sort of, you know, put in the report to sort of vouch for some money and try and get projects delivered. But it's the way that Birmingham City Council is being run and the financial, you know, state that they're in. That's I can't comment on that, unfortunately. You know.
Can I just ask one last question? Just one last one.
Okay.
Pat, you're looking at.
I was just gonna point something out, but no, it's fine.
All right, no worries, no worries. I was just gonna ask about. We met with the guys who were doing some community work in the Zells, and they put planters on the road to kind of discourage people from parking, street parking on pavements and stuff. They put these big planters with plants in there. What's your thoughts about that kind of program?
We can do stuff like that, but I would sort of steer away from putting in planters, because there's a maintenance regime that needs to be incorporated within it, because they end up, in a lot of the areas that we put them in the past, we work quite closely with community groups and said, look, you know, we'll do these, we'll authorize these going on the highway. We'll even assist with getting some funding in place for you. But as long as you kind of agree to maintain it, and they end up just being left, and they just end up being litter bins. So it's something that, you know, they'll address the issue and stop parking, but they just serve as litter bins really over time, you know. So they get neglected.
Okay,
It was
okay.
about the situation with the council, and whether you had any visibility on what it looks like for the next 12 months, 18 months, 2 years, of whether they might get themselves out, because obviously there's been huge cost savings, whether they might get themselves out of a difficult period, and when it might start to look a bit more positive again. I don't know if you've got any clarity on that.
I think I know probably about as much as you, even though I work for Moses Scale. But what I would say is that we're probably going to go through another series of cuts this December, probably. That's what I've heard. Whether it comes to fruition or not is another thing. But we're going to have 3 stages of cuts. We've gone through the first one. We're going to go through the second one at some point very, very soon. And then there's going to be another one. So it's not looking very, very good. We're still short on where we need to be in terms of meeting our targets for making these cost savings. But yeah, no, it's going to be a few years off yet before anything improves, unfortunately. You know, I mean, my service as a whole, at one point, this time last year, we were going to be removed, but then they realised that there were certain functions that we carried out that were deemed statutory. So even in our own service area, you know, we were unsure as to how the future was looking for us. So we've got this program now, and we used to be reliant on a capital fund to take care of our service to a small degree, but now that's been stripped back, and now we've got to rely on bringing our own fees in. So by us delivering this program and having a reduction in terms of our service staff, we're able to sort of just put our heads above the water again and retain our service and keep up with our statutory functions. Well,
Thank you. Just one thing I would to end. After talking to my 2 colleagues here already, very shortly, because before I leave, I can talk to them, I can email them about it.
yeah,
It is the St. George's Academy School, which is a primary school. There is a lot of problem about the people are the footwear is they put half of the grafted half, and the parents they cannot move it. So I'm thinking of about double yellow line, not that much, about little bit.
Spring Street, Oxbridge.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. It is actually called Hospital Street, this side hospital.
Okay. Hospital Street.
Yeah. But anyway, I was talking to them,
Okay.
and I'll come back to you about it.
Yeah.
And probably someone can come and visit with me sometime before I go.
Yeah.
And that will be very ideal. The
Yeah.
school teacher will be very happy.
Yeah.
I propose it because I go there sometimes to check this, this side, fly tipping and all this very often. And I noticed that people are parking, and it's very, very, they cannot, the cross push here. I've seen physically,
Right.
not only once occasion, but 10, 20 occasions. It's very, very,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So,
We can discuss that shortly afterwards, and then we can arrange a
Thank
meeting
you.
outside.
Thank you very much for your coming and
Yeah.
explaining everything. We should move to because we got there are lots of things to discuss. Housing update, Paul, if you can say something about housing update.
First of all, I'd like to, for those of you who were here a year ago, I'd like to reintroduce myself because I covered for Chris Robinson, the housing manager, last October through to the end of January. And then Chris came back to work, so I moved on. I've been asked to take over the team again, coinciding with an email that Pat had sent my manager in terms of no one from housing has been to the meetings for the last few months. So as long as I'm covering the team, I'm committed to coming to these meetings and supporting the groups. Okay. My primary role before I was asked to do this was managing a team of staff who deal with borders, and that covers not just Aston, Newtown and Birchfield, That covers the whole of what we call the north and central. So it goes from North Edgbaston right round to Borsley Highgate, Nechells, Erdington, across to Castle Vale and up to the top of Sutton Coldfield, and then right across the city to Holyhead. So we do a service for all of those cases, but now I've been asked to look after the 3 wards to do with the council housing. That's about the only updates I've got at the moment, Councillor.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
How is the Christopher? Is he still off sick, Christopher?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry to. It's nearly 1 year now.
Yes.
12 months. Oh, I'm sorry to hear this.
Sorry, Councillor, just to reiterate, contacting Paul, there was a couple of residents that was at the last meeting that gave me a list of issues of concern. I don't know if they're not here today.
I made contact with them, and I went out and we did a bit of a walk around the area and pointed out a number of things. So they're in the process of being dealt with at the moment.
Thank you.
Yeah. So anybody, because before I say something, for example, what is the name of the road? Sorry, it's off Summer Lane. The police station in Summer Lane, it's opposite side. It is bushes grown up, everything.
Attenborough Close.
Sorry,
Is it Attenborough Close?
Yes, Attenborough Close, and the other one.
What's the name?
Attenborough.
Attenborough Close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Overgrown bushes.
Yeah, it is overgrown, yes, anyway. But it's actually, I got email back from the manager. So actually they are dealing with this matter, but not yet there. So they said it will be in autumn time, which is nearly ending in autumn time anyway. So I don't know how soon they will do it, just to inquire about it, because the residents are not happy, because it's quite a, quite a bad situation. And some benches there to the back side, they have no, it is full of the trees and everything, and they can't sit. And the lebra is covered by the bushes. So I can follow the photograph if you want me to. I got all the photographs. Yeah.
Excuse me. Your job, the housing thing, I just wanted to understand, does it include taking care of the homeless and some of these people?
Not directly. When and if they are rehoused into our stock, then my role would start, because we manage the properties. People are homeless. There's routes via different teams who would deal with their application. But inevitably, we do end up dealing with some of them. It's not dealing with the homeless application ourselves.
Because I wanted to understand who is in charge of some of these homeless issues. I am the bigger as a judge. Quite a lot of issues of people coming to see in the church. There is one that is permanently as important as Sarah closets. Don't know how to get rid of them. Stuff like that. So what do we do?
Yeah. Well, it's one of those things I'm very aware of, because we have, that lady just said there, we have an awful lot of people complain about rough sleepers coming into the tower block. And I know for a fact that some of them are people who do the tapping, the begging at the lights for money to feed addictions. And when we know they are going to certain blocks, we liaise with StreetLink to try and get them the help they need. Part of the issue with some of them is they won't engage with the services to try and get that help. So I'm not saying they're all the same, they're not, but a good number of them, you probably know some of the faces if you go down those routes every day. And some of them don't want to be engaged with the statutory services that we can offer. So it's always going to be a challenge, and certainly in the tower blocks, especially in this kind of weather when it gets colder, they're more likely to try and force their way in, tailgating some of the residents, which can be scary at the best of times. Unfortunately, our staff have been abused as a result of some of them being challenged. We have the mobile patrol officers of an evening that if they're reported, they will go and try and get them to leave the blocks. Or inevitably, those officers go around a number of blocks in the city, depending on the demands and the call for service. So often they'll see our staff leave and try and get back in. And unfortunately, they use the shoot room for things like drugs and also in some cases defecating. So it's a pretty grim existence and a pretty grim outcome for the local residents who live in that vicinity. I wouldn't want to be putting my bin bags into the shoot room and find some of that in there, especially late at night. But how we stop it, you know, I haven't got an answer like that for you. But what I can do, if you give me your details at the end, I'll give you names and numbers in terms of referring people into the correct service. All right.
I mean, I understand that a lot of council funding is being cut for some of the homeless shelters and hostels.
I'm no expert on the exact funding, but as my colleague referred to earlier, a good swathe of cuts gone across nearly the whole council. No, absolutely. Yeah.
So I can ask you one question on behalf of the residents. Many of the residents told me, you know, the housing land, and there are plenty of fly tipping kept on going. How think the housing, because I have been, because there are two, in the West Bengal, there it is housing, limit with the housing. How we can best get this service from the housing side if there is something left over the housing land? Have you got any advice here?
I said this to Valerie last year when we did a bit of a walk around. In the short time I've been responsible for this area, it's probably the most fly-tipped area I've come across. What people, obviously there's a couple of things here. There's the people who drive into the area and dump stuff. And there's also some local people who just do it because they want to do it. Our facilities to collect fly tipping are always demand outstripping supply. And we dedicate as much time to it as we can, but we never catch up with it because there's that much that happens. There are some, obviously, if it's not on housing land, we refer it to another part of the council to help us out. But I wish I had more resources to deal with fly tipping. We've got staff who try and do the education and the enforcement side of it, because that can't be ignored. But the people who tend to do it aren't responsible residents. They don't care that much about the local area. If you're willing to just throw your rubbish on the street, you know, there's a real issue there that, you know, I don't have that power. But, you know, it's a perennial problem, unfortunately. I wish I had the answers for you, but I haven't, other than still trying to go out and collect it.
Whenever I email them, very often I'm doing it almost 2-3 a day. And you know, the West Bengal judges are referring to housing, we are referring to housing side. I don't know all this technique, but anyway, we have to bear it and wait 2 weeks, 2 weeks, something like that is terrible, really. So this is another frustration, which we'll be discussing next one. Unfortunately, we have nobody from the, although they promised coming from the wage service, but nobody is here today. I'm very angry about it. Anybody else, any question to Paul? No. Thank you, Paul, for your coming. Sorry.
I was just wondering, I was just interested to know, half the stuff is could be collected. I just don't understand, as you rightly said, why it's been on the street.
I don't understand. I mean, if I give you an example of some people's attitude, some of the residents who live in the tower blocks, there is literally a chute at the end of the corridor that they live on, and some people will throw it out the window, you know, endangering whoever might be below. I've seen armchairs being thrown out of windows.
Yes.
You know, and it's absolutely, I just can't get around that way of thinking. But in that instance, it wasn't in this area, it was in another area. We saw who it was and we took him to court.
Right.
But you've got to be lucky enough to be able to identify who does it, and that's what it comes down to. Fully appreciate the call for more enforcement in a whole range of issues. And certainly, if we have the evidence to do it, we will.
I think it should also be noted that some of the fly tipping is also coming from traders. If they've not got trading license, what they automatically will do is find corners or an area that just looks unpleasant anyway and dump. And my colleague and I are looking at a particular area of Newtown at the moment to kind of work on environmental enforcement and also check on trade license, because there are traders who have come into the area in the last 4 or 5 years that have not been checked and have not got license. Say they have license because they can independently get a license, not through the city council, but through some other waste management company, and are not doing so. So it does also blight the area. And I'm talking about Summer Lane, Hospital Street, and those areas, yeah.
Anybody wants to say anything anymore, or just to stop it? Yeah. That's my first. Oh, just to say something about this one about my frustration about this.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you. Maybe you can come to our next meeting. We'll wait. Update us. Next one is, I know there is no officer. I'm very, very upset about the second time that he didn't come. That ignored us anyways. Yeah. So when I went to your meeting on the 7th of Angela as well, and I remember I said so angry that day in the morning time I was crying. I got photographs. I was crying. My wife would say, "Why you are crying?" When I saw all the writing in Newtown, I really surprised. It's too much. So I don't know. I didn't know what to do, and I was crying. So anyway, then I spoke to Councillor Mojidwa, who is a cabinet member. So he spoke to me for 1 minute, and he said he will come back to you, but he didn't come back to me. It doesn't matter. Then I got angry, and I asked my son to help me. He came from upstairs. He got an office in upstairs, and he helped me to write it there because I was so frustrated anyways. Yeah. So anyway, when I raised this issue very with angry, and they did the job anyway, but still it's going on. But we can't do anything about it because some people are saying that it's the councillor fault. Some people say it's the somebody's problem. For example, today somebody saw somebody dropping it in Melbourne, not far from this road. And I begged him to tell me the names of the person and the household. He denied. So I said, why you are denying? You'll be protected. Time and again, I requested him, but he denied to, give the names of the household who did it. And I'm very, very upset. Similar thing happened. Remember that meeting I mentioned, 2-3 household, same thing they denied. For example, the hospital street this side, there is what is called mountain of fly tipping. One of the household, I think they are Indian, and I begged them. They saw them. They said, "Oh, we saw." And I, father and the son, I requested them. They refused to give me any kind of indication who did it, and that's why I'm very upset. If the residents do not cooperate with the city council or with us or the two leader, two of our chair as well, so how can we tackle this problem? And this is a great problem, and we have to stand up as a community, and we have to stand up and catch this criminal ourselves. Yeah.
Is there an issue with cleaning it up ourselves? Because obviously, if the council come to collect it, they will be taking it somewhere. We've got a van, a truck. Obviously, we need to be careful about anything that is dangerous or whatever. But if there's an ability for us to load that onto a truck and take it somewhere to help with ease the pressure, we can do that.
Yeah,
I was going to say we can have a conversation. As I was saying earlier, that myself and my colleague are looking at some hotspots, and also we're looking following your meeting with Angela last week at Legacy around traders. We want to kind of do a walkabout particularly around your area of Constitution Hill and that bit. So we only this afternoon was talking about doing some sort of clean up, but not in the same way as, we're not talking about resident, but it's working with the traders regarding that. So if I can have a conversation with you outside of the meeting.
But I think that would start. I mean, I know maybe the same thing will happen
Yeah.
again, but it's a
Yes.
starting point.
Yeah.
To go right. Okay, it happens again.
Yeah.
We'll just keep doing it.
Mm.
Until
you reclaim the streets as
that's it. I think
yeah.
that's the point, that we've got to do that,
Yeah.
because otherwise we just leave it, wait for the council don't come, and then it just it depresses everybody. And
when you leave it, people just add on to it.
that's it. They
And
do
add on,
actually. They
because
do add on
Kensington
to it.
was, some rubbish at Kensington Street
Yeah.
here for about 6, 7, 8, 9 weeks.
Yeah.
And people are adding settees,
Yeah.
food boxes, and people are walking past. And I've been told, it was reported to the council quite a few times,
Yeah.
but the council took forever and a day to come and clear it. And while they're taking forever and a day, people are still adding on.
Yeah.
And then when you walk past, the smell is atrocious. I don't know how people live by there, but something needs to be done. It's all about talk, and nothing's being done really.
We already doing ourselves.
Yeah.
You are. Yeah, yes, you are doing it very clean.
So, and this interlinks. This is a very, very serious problem. It attracts certain type of thing. Besides even the animals, there's things that I wouldn't want to say
Antisocial
here, but
behavior in a different.
the councillor knows, and the things that we've already dealt with. If we didn't do that, it would have caused a lot of issues for our businesses, what we've actually set up. And we're not doing this for a short time. We're doing this for a long time. He knows how many people we're employing right now. Since we've been running now, it's got 5 years now going on. And the fact that we were talking about parking, and then I also brought up about the cleanliness or the rubbish and all that. If we didn't do that, or if we don't do that right now, if we don't deal with this right now, or if we don't deal with it as soon as possible, the things that we're already seeing, and it's going to get worse, and we're going to go back to the past Newtown or the past Aston that used to be that Aston. There's a lot of things happening because right now we're liaising with the council and the police. When we do the cleaning, there's a lot of things that we're picking up. We're picking up drugs, we're picking up weapons, we're picking a lot of things because there's rubbish. So people just come and dump in there, whatever they've used, and then they come and dump it in there.
Yeah.
So it's best that we deal with this now than us keep talking about it. This needs to be taken very, very serious.
Can I tell one thing? Because I visited your place, very nice, I'm very happy. Because you got a new business there, and I hope you can keep your eyes open. The other side, you have seen the other side. Your side is, I accept it. Yes. And get pictures of that person and give it to me. You got my everything, and then we should work together to keep the Newtown clean. Yeah. I please beg everybody to help each other. Without this we can't be successful. Yeah, thank you very much. I think I better too, because we've got a long discussion about your program. So, Barbary Park.
Oh, good evening. A lot of things have been covered already, so I'm not really gonna go over some of the things that have been covered already. But one of the things that I found to do with the fly tipping, hold on, first of all, apologies from Rashida. She's had some family illness, so that's why she said, apologies be noted why she's not here tonight. With the fly tipping, that's been ongoing. What happened is a few weeks ago, as everybody knows I was fed up, and I'm not really savvy on the internet, but I just went on the council website and I just found some names, and I sent a few emails. And one of these a gentleman responded to me from Waste Management. Now, he doesn't actually deal with fly tipping per se, but because he knows about the area and he used to be down there, he came out and we had a meeting with him, Mr. Leighton Gabbidon. And since he came out and we had a walk around meeting and he saw a lot of what has been going on, he came out and there was quite a few different hotspot areas in our block in Ventnor Avenue that had been reported and hadn't been picked up. Now, because he says his priority is to do the flats, but because of interlinking with us, quite a lot of the rubbish that we've had in Ventnor has been taken away. And also I told him about Yellow Park, Valerie's the other chair, Central Newtown. So with that, he went over and he's been, just like you're doing, but he's for the, as a council member, he's been hotspotting and picking up the rubbish, and he's been coming in, because I've seen him like 7 o'clock or 6 in the morning. They do come round and have been monitoring the area. And one of the things, sorry, he said, is if we keep in touch with him, come directly to him, he'll get his team out. Might not be done today or tomorrow, but the more people that get in touch, get on the website, he can escalate it to his manager. They can put out more teams out to come out more often to collect the rubbish. But as you said, sometimes, as Councillor Islam knows, over the years, we send them all into Councillor Islam. They get sent up, and as a councillor has got frustrated, and he has done a lot for us. Like this gentleman said, we've taken it via the management himself, so he's taken it straight to the top, and it's been a lot cleaner, and they're coming through. So that's quite good on our side there for the fly tipping. But as we say, we asked for the cameras, and Councillor Islam, you said about, you never mentioned about what they said about the postponement for the cameras for the time being.
About the camera.
Yeah.
I think I've already do the.
Yeah, but you never
But they say there are some legal reasons they can't do it.
Yes, so they were saying,
because public place,
because we
something like
asked for
that,
the cameras and this long issue that has been going on. To condense it, they said, although we've got all these fly tipping in the area, when they put it in the bigger demographic, we're not warranted cameras. And also because of GPDS, they can't give us cameras. So we've got to find another way of just be neighborhood watches like we have done and keep our area clean and try and educate our neighbors, which is one of the ways of going forward. Now, luckily, sorry, I shouldn't say, just on the part where we are, everybody's fine for now. We keep our sides clean. We do go out and do litter picks myself and the ladies. Linda's up the top and I do down the bottom, and some of the ladies around the back. We do community litter picks. We had some funding from Miss White a few years ago, and we've distributed it out. So that's one of the ways that we keep our area clean and also integrate with the neighbours, and we keep on top of it that way. But as you know, as it's cleaned, and you don't know where all these settees and chairs and everything comes from, and it's back out. But it's just having to keep an eye on it. So that's one of the things that's going on at the moment. So the fly tipping, but we're keeping an eye on that.
You mentioned about helping out with,
I think that works. Hello.
We'll find out on YouTube.
Oh right, this is for YouTube. Oh, I see. Okay. Oh right. Okay. Yeah, so we can help out with that, but also whether it contravenes GDPR, I don't know. We've got CCTV cameras, which go down the road. So what I propose to do is, if we get it to a point where it's clean, then anything that gets dumped, we can at least see, see what's happened. If it's clean, we can then see where somebody's left something, look at the CCTV footage overnight or whatever, and say, right, okay, who was that? Get at least some information, and we can do that. Also, we've got a camera that doesn't actually go down Howard Street, but it is on Howard Street, because it's at the entrance to our car park. So that's at least something that, we've got a starting point and potentially some more information we can get.
Yeah, yeah.
Working alongside the CEO and his assistant from Legacy, we've had a few meetings, and in the park in December we'll be having the Benjamin Zephaniah tree planting. So we'll be having 65 trees to represent each year as Benjamin Zephaniah's life. So we'd like everybody to attend and come along and support, because what we're trying to do is get the parks back for the community, so we can have young children and adults integrating during the year, even in the winter months, try and get the centre back in the park. So we've got somewhere, the meeting point for the community. So then as residents, we can build a link so everybody's aware of all that's going on in the area, build up a neighborhood watch, get the community involved and all the streets working together and parents liaising with the schools along the way, and we can keep the community spirit going. So that's one of the goals of what we're looking for. So hence, when we're in the councillor or the housing or even yourself, then we can see what funding there, we can keep the area going. So that's the goal for going forward. We just want to keep it positive and motivate and keep the community happy, and long may it continue. And that's most of, there's too many things to go into, but those are few of the things that we've got ongoing at the moment. Have I missed anything, Deb? Okay. Oh yes, sorry. And on Saturday we'll be having a food drive in Burberry Park, and at the end of it there'll be, if you've got any young children, there's going to be an activity for parents and children to come along, join in. We'll be having a trail, nature trail, prizes to see who can win any of the little gifts that will be available leading up to the Benjamin Zephaniah funding launch. Yes, sorry.
I was just asking, which website did you go to make the complaint
About
the litter?
I just want to
Birmingham City Council. Oh, that's a maze as by itself.
No, but you see, when you're not savvy with the computer, it's just potluck, and I was happy.
Oh, okay.
So,
Okay. It's not just potluck. It's a maze.
no, I'll give you the gentleman's name that I spoke to, because he said that pass on his details to anybody.
Okay.
So that's about most of the updates at the moment, and thank you all for listening.
Thank you.
Pardon?
Sorry.
And also, isn't there a new town day at Legacy at the 14th?
Yes.
I was going to let them.
Okay,
Oh,
sorry.
Yeah, I'm just doing Burberry. Stay in Aston. Yeah, sorry. All right, sorry.
The parks actually around here are really, really nice, and actually are a lot cleaner than the streets.
Yes.
So they're well kept, surprisingly, which you would think that there might be a lot more antisocial behaviour on the parks, but there doesn't appear to be.
Quite a lot of the parents and the children
Yeah,
do use
exactly.
it. That's
And
what
that's
the
a
focus
real,
is.
that's a real positive, I think, about what I've seen in the area. So
Thank you.
Central Newtown?
Yeah.
So, hello, everybody. I'm Valerie. I do community forum for Central Newtown. To be fair, it's been very quiet. I did take a back seat, so I'm still trying to feel my way back onto getting on the community forum. In the meantime, I have started up a WhatsApp group for Central Newtown and Burberry, and I've also started a Facebook page. I am in the process of doing some business cards to give out to people if they want to come or get me involved in any aspect of work that they're doing. And me and Sonia will be happy to do that. So once I get the business cards out, I will be distributing them. There will be a contact telephone number for me, and there'll also be an email address. So I'd like to get involved with yourself and also yourself, because I think we can work together better than Birmingham City Council, to be fair. So that's where I am at the moment. It is very quiet on my side. Apart from, as usual, I'm moaning about the fly tipping. It's just getting horrendous. I think you're saying that there's no cameras, but what about lighting? Spotlighting. If people are being dumping, can't we have any lighters to turn on to see people see that they're dumping? Can't we have something?
Yeah.
As opposed to saying no, we can't have anything, and just allowing these people to run, get the streets and dump where they want to. We need to have something.
Yeah, because I'm putting pressure to the waste management to regularly should come forward, and that's why I'm having negotiation with them. and see how they can react the angry resident. Yeah. So hopefully something will be done. But as you know, it will only be discussed about the spending cut and all these things. It will take council tax will be rising another 10%. So I'm not happy the way But anyway, it's not only me. There are hundreds of politicians. They are discussing all of these things. So yeah, I know that it is a quite big problem, and especially you two. Without you two, I can't work. So it is really, very grateful to you for your action at all times. Um, and we need more like 1, 2 people like you. And if we get 2 more people, it will be more. We can catch some of the criminals, those who are dumping rubbish here and there, and especially the Barbary Park. How it was 4 years ago, it was quite different. But when you stepped in, it is quite fine. Everybody happy. Yeah.
Oh, to the both of you.
Yeah.
And the residents of Burberry that always attend the meetings.
Thank you, Albert. Can I just now say very briefly about myself, because about the recycling vehicle will be coming tomorrow, the Guildford Drive in the cul-de-sac area between 7:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. We have distributed the leaflets all household.
Sorry, what's the street?
Sorry,
What street?
it is Guildford Drive, cul-de-sac area between 7:30 till 1 p.m. And we distributed the leaflets already.
And it's tomorrow.
And next one will be the 18th of December from Street. So during my absence, Rashida will arrange the leaflet and deliver to the household, the catchment area.
Oh.
I haven't got the further date for the next year. I believe that I'll be getting within maybe 2 weeks' time for the next 6 months from January to June. So I'll let everybody next meeting. And because I said to you, after 5 years, I have to go to Bangladesh to see my stepmother. She brought up me when my mother died. And I think she's in deathbed, and she desired to see me. So I think I cannot make an excuse not to see her. So I'm going for after 5 years. I have no rest. I need not take any holidays. I'm sorry that I will not be available among you for 3 to 4 weeks, but I will come back towards the end of December and resume my duty. But during my absence, Rashida Begum will be working as like me, and she will always contact me in Bangladesh. She will get everything, forward to me everything, and we will liaise everything. So there will be no problem. During my absence, what I can do, partially knows the email address of this Labour Secretariat and Shabala Mahmood MP. So you can raise any issues to them, and I'm sure I told them to act accordingly. I'm sure. And thank you very much indeed from my side. If you have any question, you can either email me or ask me anytime. I'll be. And I especially request you are from your organization. I need just like business people. They can come to this meeting and it will get encouragement, more encouragement, because we can say we get more people with us, more voice, and we can ask the city council to hear it. And one further thing, I'm going to book an appointment with the senior officer of West Management, and I'd like to know if I can do it before I go. If not, I'll do it in the end of December. It will be in January. So that will be another better, which I already.
Late. Apologies for that. But so it was David Miller and Sergeant Aaron Pugh. Were they not able to make it?
Oh, the meeting. Yeah.
The sergeant's off sick
Yeah.
at the moment,
Okay.
and David Miller. We've had no response.
Right.
What Councillor Islam is saying is annoyed that they haven't attended
no, I
this
agree.
meeting.
Yeah.
I mean, similarly, so I can try and do what I did to get Paul here
Yeah.
by sending
Yeah.
an email to share
Yeah.
residents and the councillors' disappointment.
Yeah.
I'll express my disappointment on behalf of the, not only me, you all. Yeah. Oh, one more thing. Sorry, I forgot to tell. These are the 4 gentlemen from Newtown. They are the new people. Hello. Sorry. DMLC. Can you say 1 minute about yourself, please, so that resident, your neighbors can hear about you, please?
So,
we are a company. We do events management. So we have a building that we've turned into a community center, and mostly for events. And well, we've been there for now coming to well, officially 5 years. uh, we're based on Lower Tower Street, and yeah, on Lower Tower Street, we've been doing we've done so many events. We've been bringing traditional African artists all the way from Africa. We've done a lot of that. We've been working with different groups. We work hand in hand with the police. We've been working with the council as well, and then basically we're trying to build. We're trying to regenerate the area. We have different businesses actually in the area. We also have a restaurant in the area that we just built recently on Howard Street. So, in a nutshell, that's what we do. And mostly, we actually came here because of policy update, obviously, and street cleansing and waste management. These are things that are very, very serious, because when we came into the area, we saw what we saw, and we've done what we've done. We spent a lot of money just to clean up, because we thought that if we didn't do, or if we don't do that, our neighbors are going to think otherwise.
Yeah.
You understand? But then we've done a lot, and we can't keep doing this, because the pocket is not. You look at the economy right now, but we did that because we're hoping that we can survive, in order for us to be in good terms with our neighbors. And for us coming here, obviously, Councillor Islam thought, oh, come and address this. These people will be here, and they will help out. But they're here. But as you can see, there's nobody here. Well, we don't know who can take this information back.
It's minuted enough that I've made a note, and I'm just looking to see whether or not you signed in.
Yes, we did.
So
Have you signed it as well? Have you signed this?
Sorry, I don't know your name, so I'm looking at a list.
Okay, well, I'm on their behalf, so all there with me.
Oh, okay.
Look on the bright side, you'll have to come back.
GMLC.
If you could, sorry.
GMLC Entertainment.
Yes.
So on Howard Street is Afro Lounge, and then on the Lower Tower Street is a DMLC, or Lenny's Consultancy House. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, it's very kind of you. Okay. Now, thank you very much up to here. But anyway, other interesting business. Yeah, interesting business. Newton, the cultural study. So hopefully we can produce a very nice one. I have read it. So it is up to you now.
We've got the Newtown Community Day on Fun Day on the 14th of December. Everybody's really welcome to come. So please let everyone know, and you just sign up on Eventbrite, or if you're not digital, then just let us know, and we'll put you down. And they've got flyers for that if anyone wants to come. Then we've all, yeah.
And it's open to everybody.
Yeah.
Even Aston? There's no solid border.
Yeah.
Aston likes to come over to the nice side.
Yeah. Then also, we've been working with Aston Manor Forum around setting that up and getting a forum for Phillip Street Park. So that's sort of coming soon. They're just getting themselves set up. We met with the people that want to be on the committee today. And then the other thing was that we've been working on the Newtown cultural strategy. So we've been working on the Newtown cultural strategy. So we've got a draft that's open for consultation. It's on the Legacy Centre website, but we've also brought some hard copies with us, and we've also got the consultation questions. So really value any input that anyone's got on just ideas of what you'd like to see, just what you think of the strategy.
And just to give you a bit of background, with the strategy, we some of you, I think about half of people who were in here, we had a visioning meeting about 2 weeks ago, where we literally had artists and local people, residents, businesses to actually talk about it. We engaged 122 businesses as part of the traders group. We went and visited the young people at Lighthouse Centre and asked them their opinions. We also met with the planning team who were doing the master plan for Newtown. All of the Newtown neighborhood action plan, the objectives of that, we also fed into it. So basically what we tried to do is all of the concerns that people have talked about in Newtown, as well as the culture bit, we talked about roads, highways, litter, park improvement, forums, everything's in there. But what we really need is for you to read it. And if, you know, we're only human. There's things that we could have missed. There's important things we could have missed. There's things that we could improve. There might be mistakes. We might have put something in there. It's not actually correct. So we would really like you to give us your opinion, have a read of it, give us your opinions, because we need it. We genuinely need it. We're a community organization based in Newtown, like yourself. We want the community to be successful. We want the area to win. And therefore, if we can get everybody's opinion, the goal is to have a finished, this is the draft, but to have a finalized strategy by the end of December. And if anybody who would like to be part of the steering group meeting, so we're going to hold a meeting early in December before we refine the strategy. Once everyone's put their suggestions, if you want to sign up to be part of the steering group to actually finish the actual strategy, please let us know. Just, you know, drop us a note. And just to let you know as well, we were told by the culture team for Birmingham City Council that this strategy, we know they're going to use it as part of Birmingham's overall cultural strategy. And we were at a meeting today, and Simon DF, who's the head of planning, was in that meeting, and he said that he's already looked at the draft, and when the final draft comes in, he's going to be looking at that. So it's important because the planning team's going to be looking at it, the culture team's going to be looking at it, a lot of the different council departments are going to be looking at it. So we've got a chance to get it right, but we're not going to get it right with just us. We need everybody to feed into it. Yeah. Most definitely on our website. I know paper's old school.
This is the old.
I like paper. Don't worry.
It would be easier for us to actually.
And you
It would
can
be easier for us to actually edit anything or to add anything on there. It's easier for us to do that. And that's
It's literally on the front page of our website, which is legacycoe.co.uk. Scroll down, you'll see the strategy. Like I said, the new school with the digital or the old school with the paper, we don't mind. We don't mind. Most definitely. That's what these are things that we actually, that granular knowledge that you have, that we as a community we want to feed it into, because we want it to represent the whole community.
Thank you. Angela, you and Pat did a fantastic job to this. Your great contribution to the resident of Newtown. It is really a great thing that you. Unfortunately, I could not read everything, but I'll read as soon as I can. I'm working now. Under stress, as I said earlier on. So it is quite nice. So far I've just glanced it. I think it's quite nice presentation, and probably other people also add more to make it more nice.
Thank you.
And thank you very much for your time. Anything you want to say? I'm talking.
Me?
Yeah.
I'm Aston. I can't say nothing.
Have you
Sorry.
seen this one? Have you seen this hard work?
Yes, I see his hard work. I know him for a long
pages.
time, so.
We never had this before, and this is the time we are getting a.
Yeah, he's a hard worker.
Yeah,
He's a
everybody
hard
saw
worker.
a
Treasure to the
lot.
community.
So in Newtown, we are getting something now. Yeah. I can request you if you can have the time. It's not far from your legacy. You can visit one time. It's nice, really inside here. Everything nice. Yeah, which is not far, walkable distance. Welcome your cup of tea. They will welcome your cup of tea.
We want to come to your restaurant. We want to come to your
Yes,
venue, you know.
vice versa.
Next concert.
Yeah. Anyway, thinking about the time is
And also,
yeah.
we now need to add you into the strategy because we know there's another cultural venue in the area. This knowledge is important.
And thank you very much for everybody coming, you and officers and all the residents, especially you, all of you. And I hope you will be attending the future meeting as well. Thank you very much indeed. I hope you everybody enjoy. Thank you. Thank you and good night.
Thank you.
Sorry, yeah. Got 1 second.
Feel that one there.
Whereabouts exactly is
Raymond,
that?
Can you take this because everything's been
Yeah.
recorded?
You don't want me to listen to you?
You work very hard.